Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at MATIC. Before we jump into the price action, I'd like to say thank you for watching the video. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you want to be kept up to date, turn on those bell notifications, and why not leave us some feedback down below. Okay, so let's jump into the price action now. So this is the way that I'm primarily looking at this move to the upside, and that would be looking at this as a 1, 2, up into this high point for 3, and then looking at this as a potential fourth wave retracement here, looking for a fifth wave to the upside to come. So this move basically needs to prove itself, and we need to maintain this zone. I wouldn't really want to come much down or down much further than this 90 cent 29 zone, and I would want to start to see some 5-wave structure developing to the upside here. If we were going to look at this as a corrective structure, we'd have to argue that potentially we'd have to look at this as, can argue that there's potential to have a triangle in here. So this would be a wave, this would be an A, B, C, D, and E, and then we're actually starting to break down from this point. Or alternatively, what we would have to do is look at this move as an A, B, C down into this low point here, which would make this a W wave. Then we'd have to treat this as a X wave to the upside, and then the fact that we were getting another W wave to the downside. So the way we'd have to break this up, because there is some overlap within this move, is we'd have to look at this as an ABC. This is an X wave, so an A, a B, a C to this low point. Then this is a connector wave, so it'd be a W, X, and then a Y wave to the downside. So technically speaking, it looks like it could actually be completed. And this could actually be a low here that we shouldn't move below it again. However, we need to just bear in mind that if I throw this fib onto here, go down into here, come back up into this zone here, the 1-to-1 potential is actually down here at the 7893. So if we actually look to push down deeper, this would be a zone that I would actually be looking to find, to potentially test rather. The thing is, however, if we move down there, it starts to become very deep, this retracement, and I wouldn't have expected it to be as deep based off of the wave 2. It also becomes quite large, so at that point we'll have to start asking ourselves if we don't have something else going on, basically. So we're currently within the zone. It is possible we could start to move away from here, and if we do move away from this current target, then our fifth wave target would be this 11449 to this 10854. If we do actually move up here one more time and a 5-wave structure, this would be the target I would be looking out for. The thing is, what we need to bear in mind here is, okay, so this would bring us right up to that 702 zone potentially, and then a little bit higher than that would be the 786 towards the top end of this box, basically would be 786. So that is possible that we could actually look to push up into that zone one more time before we look to break down. I'm still looking at this as a ABC structure, looking at it as a flat correction here in a B wave. We've actually come up and hit that 0.618 at this 10533, so we need to be aware that we could always start to break down from this point. So we're going to look at both sides of this argument. Because of the fact of the structure getting quite big, like I said, it's sort of right in the sort of the biggest I'd want to see it in regards to this wave 2 before looking to push up. If it starts to go more sideways here, it's actually probably more likely that we've got something else going on here, and either this is a 1, 2, 1 and 2, and then we're going to look to push up again, or this is just a bigger corrective structure and we actually going to look to push up in another correction where this is an A, B, and then a C. So we've got to give it a little bit of time just to see what's playing out. But I would be expecting a 5-wave move here if we're looking at this as a flat. So within that, what we'd be looking for effectively is whether we hold this 4th wave position and push up. If we don't, what we could be looking at is, if I turn this off for a second, let's turn that off. This move to the upside, we can also count it slightly different, where we look at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1, 2. Then we do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 for 3, 4, and then basically a 5th wave up. So this would mean that actually within the structure we are basically within we've completed a 5-wave move, and we could actually look to break down from here. So we do have some 5-wave moves nestled in here, And what I'd be sort of cautious of is if we move down too deep within this move, and if I get onto this high point here, down to this low point, and then up into here. Let's move this up. There we go. What I'd be cautious of is a move down past this 8739. If we did move down past there, it is possible that we could look at this as a 1, 2, and then this is all the beginnings of a third wave that hasn't fully developed. And we'd have to then look at it as a potential 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then we'd get a 5 to the downside. So the impulsive point of this move, the area I'd look to target as an impulse. If we move down past this 9116, it does become likely that actually we could have something else going on here. But because of the overlap, we have to be careful. It could just be a corrective structure, like I said, and we actually look to break up. But I'm just looking for evidence here that we could start to break down from this point. And like I said, we'd have to assume a few things within this, so that this would be a 1, 2, this would be a 1, 2, and then actually we're looking to break down again in a 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's a lot of 1, 2 situations going on within this idea, and it would mean that actually we would be starting to set up for a bigger drop here. We could argue that there is some kind of a diagonal shape within this, but it doesn't have good structure currently, so we'd have to give it a bit more time before we say that. But if we manage to hold that fourth wave zone, what I'd be looking for is whether we can push back to the upside now. And we, like I said, we're right in there. I don't see any need to come down deeper, besides the fact we haven't reached this 1-to-1 zone of this move. So we could move down to that 1-to-1 we were talking about, or potentially retest some of these low points here, and then look for that push to the upside. Though, like I said, I wouldn't want to go too deep, and effectively moving past this 9116, I'd start to become cautious that we didn't have a bigger 5-wave structure here as a 1, 2, 3. Then we would look for that 4th wave to the upside and then break down again for a 5th wave, in which case that would then probably set us up for the fact that we could look at this as a 1, 2, and then we'd look at that as a 3rd wave if it crosses this 8739. So we just need to be aware. We are looking potentially still for that C wave to the downside, and we could actually see that still play out. So we need to be aware that we've faced rejection off the 0.618. We've started to move away from this zone now. If we do start to encounter further rejection within this, we'd have to be careful that we don't have something like this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the low here, and then, like I said, we could look for that 4th wave push up and then look to push down one more time for this 5th wave, which could then actually line us up for that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from there. And if we get a 5-wave move in this position, I'd actually be then looking for a retracement back to the upside, and then effectively looking for another push down again. So we just got to give it a bit of time, but for as long as we hold that 4th wave zone, it is possible that we could still look for that upside potential. And what I wanted to just turn back on here is, if we do lose this 4th wave area, the next zone I'd be looking for support would potentially be within this teal box that we've got here, the 0883 all the way sort of down to the 7864 as a maximum area that I'd want to travel to. And that would be looking for the potential that we could set this up as a potential A or 1, 2, and then looking for a potential bullish move to the upside from here. So we got to just see how this progresses. This could become a more complex correction, and it would be actually just looking to move deeper. Like we're looking for this 4th wave, but it is possible we can look at this as a completed W wave. We come back up, find rejection, and look for a continuation to the downside. So the area I'd be looking for that, depending on what kind of structure we'd get, obviously this depends if we push back down a little bit lower now, but if we do start to move up from our current position, what I'd be looking out for is, first off, this 382, this 9668 area, but then basically from this 50% all the way up to the 786. So we can see the 786 zone here is sort of, it's been tested a few times here and we've lost that. So it is possible if we do move up here, we might get further rejection again and look to break down. So we'd have to just see how deep this X wave comes if this does play out, and we could look for this X wave to give us continuation to the downside. So we need to give it a bit more time with this. Like I said, there's nothing really indicating to me that this needs to go lower. The wave structure here is very overlapping, and it doesn't really fit an impulsive structure at the moment. If it moves down and we carry on hitting those targets that we talked about, then now we could actually start looking for this possibility of having a 5-wave move. And if we develop a 5-wave move, what I'd be on the lookout for is whether that is actually the start of the C wave to the downside, which we're looking to move towards a 6172 area. If we actually do get a 5-wave move here, that could then become a bigger wave 1. We look for wave 2, then we'd look for that rejection again to the downside. So we just got to be careful, because we are still potentially looking for some downside, but for as long as we hold this 74.79, effectively we could still have bullish structure here. Like I said, this 4th wave is really maxing out the amount of time I would want it to take in relation to this as a wave 2. So if it doesn't start to move away from this point, then I'd be sort of worried that we have a different structure playing out here, and we're actually looking to potentially either retrace down into this box or form a 5-wave structure and start to break to the downside. Okay, so I hope you found the video useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below in the comment area. Okay. Hope everyone has a great day, and we will see you in the next video. Take care out there, everybody.